Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we wanted to talk about overcoming bad habits.
Breaking the bad habits can mean reorienting your life that will aim to a specific goal. Let's say your goal is to have focus every morning in a healthy way. Then coffee is probably a habit you wouldn't want to keep, since it takes you away from that healthy aspect of the goal. Maybe you could replace or substitute coffee with tea, or even doing a light activity like cleaning, stretching, or sketching. Some people say that working out or taking cold showers are also helpful. There's something called a 3-minute routine where you perform or practice a particular habit every single day for 3 minutes until you get a hang of it. Once the action feels more natural to do, you may increase the time or effort spent on it, and through repetition, you will master the habit. When it comes with social media, some people can get so distracted by it and spend the majority of their time on it. Maybe if the phone or app or site is not readily available, and instead have a more beneficial item or interest nearby, then maybe it could help break that bad habit. Of course, it has to be something enjoyable or something you always wanted to do, like playing a musical instrument, petting your dog, or flipping through an art book. Studies have shown that learning a musical instrument strengthens our memory, enhances our literacy skills, and increases gray matter volume in our brain. It will be helpful to list your bad habits and good habits separately so that you could be aware of what to change and what to keep. Ask yourself what it is you are aiming for. Knowing your goal helps you decide what habits get you closer to it and reinforce the identity you want to build. Habits help you become the type of person you wish to be. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, states that the best way to measure your progress is with a habit tracker. He quotes, "This can be particularly powerful on a bad day. When you're feeling down, it's easy to forget about all the progress you have already made. Habit tracking provides visual proof of your hard work, a subtle reminder of how far you've come."
It's important to be self-aware when you're creating any type of art. When that is not the case, I feel like we resort to relying on habits, be it good or bad. It's good to think of the big picture and to set your goals straight, to have your priorities figured out and to stick to them. What happens otherwise is we end up noodling. We end up focusing on minor detail before we even know what the bigger image is supposed to be. There are good and bad things to this. You could say you can explore and start from something tiny and end up big. It could be seen as a form of stream of consciousness. However, I feel like it's important to stay in tune with the overall image, with the big perspective. In this way, you can avoid falling into habits that could easily blind you and keep you from progressing forward. It's really about keeping it simple and to the point. For example, let's say I was to start a stream of consciousness drawing. My big idea would be about rhythm and fluidity. That is my big picture. As long as I keep in mind that I'm doing this drawing for that reason, for that exercise, you are naturally self-aware and you're staying clear of falling into any type of distracting path that could end up developing lazy habits. Much like it is natural to do a stream of consciousness drawing, it is also natural to have habits in your life. It is interesting to find parallel similarities between what you do in your artwork and what you do in your everyday life routine. Even though your artwork is part of your life and your life is part of your artwork, you can take a bad habit and self-reflect off of it to find good in it. In a way, you are adapting through your roadblocks, brick walls that you encounter in your journeys. But this brings up a question of what are not good habits? What are the clearly not good habits? And in my experience, specifically around work, it has been a usage of junk food while working, or distracting my mind with something that's playing in the background, be it a video that isn't so much fitting to what I'm creating. And I used to shut these things off and completely remove them from my process. But then I realized that in itself is an even bigger derailment and a distraction to your fluidity and efficiency, because now you have to stop and take care of something completely irrelevant to your focus and goal. So I figured, how do I adapt through even the worst? How do I turn these around? And the simplest solution was to find a better substitute. If it was excess food, junk food, pretzels, chips, and I'm just munching. And again, this is just my personal bad habits. Some people probably don't have this as a habit. Or if I was watching videos on the internet, I turned them around. I substituted the food with something healthy and something that could be a bit more steady in consumption, like tea or water. And if it was the videos that are streaming, I would try to pick something that is maybe inspirational and motivational to what I'm working on, as opposed to something that would require my mind and eyes to divert from my work so I could pay attention to it. So I would, instead of playing actual videos, I would listen to a podcast or to a really great soundtrack that would inspire mood through my work. With your artwork, noticing a bad habit in your process is very valuable. It's understanding that you're either lost or that you don't understand what you are attempting to create or portray in your work. And having that self-aware knowledge is a step to improvement, to growth. Even if someone else points it out, this is a great leap forward. As creative and expressive beings on this human journey through life, we seek attention and gratification. We seek acknowledgement for what we create. And with that comes a labyrinth of learning experiences. I remember when I was younger, as I was growing as an artist, it really bothered me if I wasn't like this other artist who was clearly much more advanced in his work. I was obsessed about it. I really wanted to mimic their style. And from this, I gained both good and bad habits, good and bad learning experiences. It was way later in my growth as an artist that I appreciated the power of looking at the big picture. For example, I used to be heavily influenced from one of my great mentors, and I used to come up with my own conclusion as to how they were producing such beautiful artwork. And I would think it was in the speed of which they're drawing with. So I would try to very rapidly produce drawings, and that led to a lot more unclear art. It led to me not learning from anything that I was putting down on paper. However, of course, little did I know that from every negative there is a positive, and I indeed was learning a motor skill of loosening up my arm and finding a gestural approach to drawing. So I was told by that mentor to slow down so he could observe where my strength and weaknesses were, so he could attempt to help me, because in the state of which things were, it was hard to read and decipher my work. There were many ways that I interpreted slow down, one of them being that I needed to draw slower, and that was a step forward. But it took me a while to realize that slowing down happens in the mind. It happens in thought. It's all about thinking before doing. And that led to me having a realization of the big picture idea and what it stood for. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Stay true and positive to yourselves. Keep it simple and keep growing. See you next time.